people here tonight, thank you for coming. Just do your best, try to keep the talk to a minimum so everybody can hear what's going on. I'll call order, December 20th, 2021. I'll call this meeting to order. We're going to start with the pledge to the flag. Chantal, I'll ask you to please lead us.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I will ask Councilman Lawson for our invitation, please.
Let's bow our heads, please. Our gracious Heavenly Father, bless the day that you give us and live for. Be with our leaders and our citizens of our great city, and just be with us as a guidance in your name. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Agenda approval. Only thing I know here, we're going to remove the last one, Z2115. They asked to have it removed for this month. That was item number 5. Get a motion to approve tonight's public hearing.
Make a motion to approve tonight's public hearing agenda, striking item number 5, remove text 21, text 15.
Second.
Motion for Chantal, second for James, all in favor? Unanimous. All right. Ab, you gonna start here?
Yeah, Joe, you want to do 1 and 2 together, is that right? No, just 1 and then 2 and then 3 and 4 together. All right. Public hearing is being called on a number of items on the public hearing agenda. First, I'll call on item number 1, C-21-11, rezoning Lynn Peacock LLC by Sri Kumar, property owner and applicant, seeks to rezone from general commercial highway oriented district to PUD plan unit development, 11.549 acres, fronting on the south side of Industrial Boulevard, the west side of State Route 53, and the east side of White Street. The proposed use is mixed-use development, including 275 residential units and 56,200 square feet of commercial building space. And I hereby open that public hearing. Jennifer, could you confirm the public notice has been given? Right after we hear a report from our interim city manager, we will allow speakers in support of and in opposition to the application. We've got, as I just mentioned, we've got 4 items left on our public hearing agenda, 2 of which will be heard together. And for each of these items, I would ask that all speakers please abide by the following rules that I go over. When I call you up, if you come to the podium right here where the microphone is, and state your name, address, and whether you live in the city of Hoschton. Speak only to the merits of the application. Address all comments to the mayor and council. Refrain from any personal attacks. Discuss the facts instead of giving opinions and speculation. To allow an opportunity to as many people who wish to speak as possible, please refrain from duplicating points that have already been made. Each side will have a total of 10 minutes to speak, and that will go as to items 1 and 2. As to items 3 and 4, when you conduct those together, since those are 2 items, each side will have a total of 20 minutes to speak as to items 3 and 4. In the event that we have multiple speakers for a side, I will limit each speaker accordingly. And the way I'm going to do that is when I come to the item, I'm going to ask if you're here to speak on behalf of it, to raise your hand. We'll see how many speakers we have, and we'll kind of do some division there and see how much time we'll allow for each speaker, and also in opposition. So for instance, if you're here to speak in opposition to item number 1, then I'll ask you to raise your hand. I'll count those hands, and then I'll limit your time accordingly. I will ask that when I ask if you're here to speak, that's going to be your time to tell me I'm here to speak. Because if I get 5 hands and I do the division and give each person 2 minutes, we can't then have 5 more people say they want to speak. So you need to think about that before we get to your item so that you can raise your hand if you would like to speak as to the matter. Agendas and outlines of public hearing procedures are located near the entrance to the meeting hall, and after the hearing is closed, I will return the matter to the mayor and council for a decision. The other thing I would mention, and some of y'all have been here in the past, this is a time for public comment, meaning come up and state your piece, anything you want to talk about related to the item. You can also pose questions if you have questions. However, it's not a time for a question and answer session, and that can be kind of awkward because normally when you come up and you ask a question, you're kind of looking at everybody here and looking for an answer. I know that if you ask a question, that the mayor, the council, Mr. Hayes will have an opportunity to write that question down and address it when it gets to be their time to speak. But if you come up and start firing questions, even though it may seem a little unnatural, we won't pause and give time for back and forth because it's a time for public comment, not for a question and answer session. So just keep that in mind as you make your comments. All right, Mr. Hayes, you're gonna report on the matter?
Yes, sir. Mayor and council, before us tonight is, Z 2111, which is a request to rezone, 11.5 acres from C2 to a PUD. It will be a mixed-use development with residential condos and commercial and retail. We've met with Dr. Kumar several times. There are 15 conditions that have been worked out with staff and Dr. Kumar, and that's all I got.
All right, is there anyone here to speak on behalf of the applicant? All right, are you the only speaker that's gonna speak on behalf of the applicant?
Yes.
All right, and you'll have 10 minutes. If you're comfortable. State your name, your address, whether you're a resident of the city of Hoschton, you have 10 minutes. You can reserve any of that time you wish for rebuttal.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Paul Persinger with Ridgeline Land Planning, 196 Baylor Court, Winder. I'm the design professional on the project on behalf of Dr. Kumar. As staff stated, we're requesting a rezone 11.5 acres from C2 to PUD. And if you remember back in September, you approved a variance to allow us to rezone to PUD. You took that requirement that's in code from 100 acres down to 10 acres. We think there was a typo in the code. I think they'll rectify that since then. So just a little background on the project. Dr. Kumar's on the property, it's owned C2, but he didn't want to do a traditional commercial strip center, so he reached out to staff, back I believe in June or somewhere around that time, to look at alternatives or options to this property other than just a blanket commercial development. After several meetings and discussions, it was recommended by staff that we seek a mixed-use rezoning, working on that and going through some site plans and other meetings. We've come to this PUD proposal that you have before you tonight. I'd just like to point out several things on this, the PUD, and what it does is allows a lot of flexibility in the land use, and it also provides for a true live, work, play environment. And you see our plan, there's a pedestrian-oriented Main Street retail office area for the commercial center. And then we have integrated residential areas to inject that activity to that Main Street corridor. We also have a central lawn area back in the middle of the residential area for a gathering area and potential for events to take place in that area. We also have a perimeter trail, a multi-use trail that wraps the property, and a proposed future cart path for linkage to other areas in the city to downtown. And after a review of the staff report and the discussions that Dr. Kumar had with staff, we have agreed to drop that density from 275 units and down to 225 units. So I think the revised conditions show the 225 units, and we view the rest of the conditions, and we're acceptable to those conditions. I will reserve the rest of my time, and I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have.
Thank you. All right, is there anyone here who wishes to speak in opposition to item number 1, the application, Z-21-11? So raise your hand.
So Ab, I have one question before I commit to this. Mine's sort of a general opposition to everything. So should I speak now?
Well, I'll handle it. Yeah, I appreciate that, Mr. Butler. My thought is, if you want to do a general opposition to everything, I think come up and state your piece, since it would relate to Z-21-11. And then if you wish to come up again, raise your hand when I call for hands. I don't want to deny you an opportunity to express your opinion. So I appreciate that question, although I did ask for no quick Q&A, I understand that.
I mean, that's
So,
clarification.
I understand, sure. So I saw 2 hands. Is there anybody other than 2 that raised their hand? All right, 3.
I'm with him.
All right, so are you gonna speak?
I moved out here.
Are you gonna speak? I guess I'm asking, do you wanna come up and speak? Are you gonna come up and speak?
Yeah.
Okay, then y'all each have about 3 minutes, and,
Yeah,
ma'am,
don't
if you
take
wanna
that
come up
long.
first? You can come ahead, state your name, your address with your resident city of Hoschton, you'll have 3 minutes.
I'm Ricky Toles. I live in the village at Hoschton, and I'm against most of this. Well, actually all of it, because what you're gonna do between you and Brazelton with all the houses they're gonna build, 53 is going to be a 20-mile parking lot. Somebody's got, I mean, you can't build all this stuff and run it down 2-lane roads every way you go. And that's exactly what we're doing. You can't really extend that road that way. You got too many big businesses there. It's time to be realistic. It's not gonna happen. If you're gonna do it, take it somewhere where there's not gonna be total congestion. And I'd like to have somebody tell me how they're gonna make this a 4-lane road or 5-lane road without tearing down downtown Hoschton. I'm putting that in your hands. Answer it. But has anybody even thought about
I
that?
think you must not have been here when I went over the rules. As I stated, if you have questions, please pose them, and they can answer it when it's their time to speak. But when you come up to give your comments, please give comments. If you have questions, ask them, but we're not gonna get in a Q&A session.
That's it then.
All right?
I mean, it's a done deal anyway.
All right. Next person, if you wanna come up, you'll have 3 minutes.
Christina Brown, 205 Pearl Run, City Limits, Hoschton. Glad to see more people participating in movements today than I've seen in the past. I think part of that problem there is, public hearings starting at 5:30 is difficult for those of us that work, and I think you want more community involvement than you're able to get if you can schedule those at a different time. Another problem is probably frustration, because questions/comments that are raised during the public hearing are rarely addressed. I understand that it's not a Q&A session. I understand you don't have to address our comments. It would be refreshing to see somebody among you pick up a pen and make a note and say, hey, I really want to address her concern or his concern during the meeting, but I haven't seen that yet. In fact, it seems like once everybody sits back down after speaking, comments are ignored completely, not addressed at all. I also would like to urge you not to throw things on a consent agenda, which was rampant last meeting. Consent agendas are generally designed to move routine items along quickly so that you have more time to discuss more important issues. I don't know anything more important than the future of this community. More important than trying to drive 53 or 211 during rush hour. I don't know anything much more important than that. So if you can address the items individually, individual motions and individual votes, I'd appreciate that. Specifically to this first one, you've got 11.5 acres. We're gonna put now 225 units in commercial on it. I would think that 225 housing units plus commercial is gonna generate a whole lot more traffic than a simple commercial tract. But since you've already approved 15 conditions and variances, I feel like this is gonna flow through as everything else does. In general, and I don't have a comprehensive list, I've heard this council and this mayor address the fact that they inherited a lot of the development that we see going on now, which may be true, but you do have the power to control what's happening now. And I don't see that happening. For example, we know there's 3,000 houses going on Crestwind Twin Lakes. Crestwind dumps straight out on the Peachtree, which is where I live. 300 units, Town Center Parkway. You probably inherited those as well, but I happen to try to make a left off of Peachtree onto 53 every morning, and then I make a right through Town Center as a shortcut, so I don't have to go up. And that's just getting worse and worse. And then, maybe I should wait until item 2, the public entrance dumping onto Peachtree? Holy smoke. Newly rezoned and soon to be developed commercial center right there at that intersection. We did that last meeting. Well, you did that last meeting. the old bank property being developed currently now. Winder's also developing as hard and as fast as they can too. Now, I don't know if you have to drive during rush hour. I only own 1 acre in the city of Hoschton. I don't own a business, I'm not a realtor, I'm not a big landowner. But I'm finding that I'm gonna have to leave the area in the next 10 years or so. The home that I built with my husband, literally with our own hands, we put in all those windows and everything. I see city taxes coming and I can barely get to work. And I don't see any slowing to this. So again, just to try to come back and rein myself in, item number 1.
We've got about 30 seconds.
Fine. 225 housing units in commercial space is gonna generate more traffic. There's no plans to widen to 11 in the actual work, no plans to widen 53, and no traffic control plans down there at Peachtree and 53. We're creating a mess.
Mr. Butler?
Scott Butler, 448 Deer Creek Trail, Hoschton, city limits. So, the time has come for elected officials to learn that they're not elected to build their own self-serving tiny kingdoms. They're elected to protect and to serve all of our current citizens and constituents. The best way to achieve this is by being transparent, accountable, and collaborative with citizens and surrounding governments. Any development for this city should answer 3 pretty basic questions. How does this development improve the lives of our current residents? How does this development mitigate future expenses and tax burdens to residents, i.e. our wastewater treatment plant facilities, school systems, EMS, etc.? How does this development improve the ability of citizens and emergency services to move in and around our city? That should be something that I think every council person should be able to voice their opinions on when it's done. Our mayor-elect ran on bringing transparency, accountability, and collaboration to our government. The following quote is one from a current city council person and what they had to say about bringing this change to our government. Quote, "She's a stay-at-home mom. Talks of change, but she can't change anything at all without a majority, which she will not have." So what I have to ask is, why is the city council person and newly elected council person so afraid of accountability, transparency, and collaboration with the community that they've already met and decided to be against us and the mayor we elect? Next, Hoschton is not a water independent city. Probably not even close. So when the Jackson County Water and Sewer Authority says that water will be scarce in only 20 years, Hoschton needs to step up and become a part of the solution and not continue being a source of the problem by uncontrolled growth. This alone should be a reason enough to say no on any and all new developments. Hoschton has 2 large properties bordering the Mulberry River. By no means should those 2 properties be allowed to develop without first exhausting every opportunity to convert parts of those properties into small reservoirs that could contribute to Hoschton becoming a water independent city and helping, quite honestly, all of West Jackson County gain more control over their water needs. Further, the traffic studies submitted, and I'm gonna go to the Purple Farm here for just a minute, but it highlights all the traffic studies.
You've got about another minute.
Okay, that's good. It has major flaws, and I've sent the council members, the mayor, and planning, the email that outlined the specific sections that had those flaws in it. But the bottom line is, the city of Hoschton, until it gets a true traffic grip of what's going on in this city, should not be developing any more properties to contribute to the problem. And so, currently the city is spending considerable more dollars on its operational and maintenance expenses than it receives in sustainable revenue. That's not good fiscal responsibility if we're having to expand wastewater treatment plants. Our current debt load for the year is about a $422,000 annual debt payments. In 48 months, that's gonna go to $2.1 million. That means everybody that pays a sewer bill is likely to be paying anywhere from $80 to $120 more a month for their sewer, just to pay what's already on the books, not including what's coming for any of these developments to expand wastewater treatment plants. So I think until we can come up with a way to have a sustainable, excuse me?
You can wrap it.
Okay, if we could create a sustainable model of government, I think all building needs to have a moratorium on it until we can be self-sustaining. Thanks, Adam.
All right, applicant, you have, about 7 minutes left. You should say anything.
Good.
All right. Do y'all have any questions for anyone? Then I'm gonna close down that public hearing and move to item 2. Public hearing has been called on item 2, Z-21-12 rezoning Buckle Design Group LLC by David Buckle, applicant Hog Mountain Properties LLC property owner, seeks to rezone 0.932 acres fronting on the east side of Peachtree Road from R1 single-family low-density residential district to PUD Plan Unit Development District. The proposed use is commercial driveway access and project monument sign for shopping center to be developed within, added to the Twin Lakes Plan Unit Development fronting on State Route 53, approved via application Z-18-05, and I hereby open that public hearing. Jennifer, could you confirm the public notice has been given? All right, same rules as the last time. Joe, do you wish to give a little presentation? All right.
Mayor and council, before you tonight is Z-21-12, this is a rezoning from R1 to a PUD. This is to have a third driveway to what we know is gonna be the public shopping center. Gonna be a drive off the Town Center Parkway, a right in, right only, off of 53, and then this will be their third driveway for this project. It's 0.932 acres, and it's right behind what their vacancy is the other one.
Is there anyone who wishes to speak on behalf of the applicant? Are there 2 of y'all that are gonna speak?
I'll speak right quick.
Okay, you have 10 minutes. You can reserve any of that time you wish for rebuttal.
Won't take that long. I'm Bruce Williams. I am the officer of the company that owns the 6-acre tract in question. We own what is now Crestwind and Twin Lakes. And we originally were bringing this 6-acre tract in under the PUD many years ago that Twin Lakes is developed under. And it was decided not to bring this particular 6 acres in under the PUD. We maintained ownership of it. And when we met with the state, DOT, with respect to commercial properties being developed along 53, they required an access road on Old Peachtree coming out of any commercial development there to make it where people who were visiting a commercial tract off of Old Peachtree did not have to turn onto 53 and even add more traffic on 53. The city felt it was necessary to bring this part of our 6-acre tract into the PUD because it did not want a commercial access drive coming across residential property. So basically, it's just we gave an easement to the commercial tract for this to be built. That's really the basis of the zoning. Any questions?
We'll get the rest of the comments, and if they've got questions, we'll ask them. Thank you so much.
Great, thanks.
All right, is there anyone here who wishes to speak in opposition to this one? All right, I see 1, 2, 3 hands. Anybody else? 4 hands. All right, everybody raise your hand one more time. Make sure I got everybody. All right, y'all will each have about 2.5 minutes or so to state your piece. So come up, state your name, your address, whether you're a resident of the city of Hoschton. You'll have 2.5 minutes.
Hi, my name is David Stewart. I live at 169 Ontario Lane. My backyard, as well as several others, back up to the big retention pond, which is literally right across from where the shopping center is going to be, which I have no idea what's here. That road that comes in behind the property will be extremely close to all of our properties. So I spent a ton of money expanding a nice outdoor living area. I was told by Coulter they would never develop anything there, and I find out I could throw a rock and almost hit the back of the Publix. So my concern is traffic on that side road, lighting, noise. Since the gas station and the houses were torn down on the corner, the noise is incredible compared to what it was. And I realize that the leaves are down now, it's even worse. But my hopes are somebody will make them do some kind of heavy duty border to cut down on the noise, to cut down on the lighting and all that specific things that are gonna happen once this construction goes through. I'd love to stop it, I know that's not possible, but we can get some kind of concessions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ritter. All right, whoever's next, come on up, state your name, your address, whether you're a resident of the city of Hoschton, and you'll have about 2.5 minutes.
Randy Denny, 85 Hunters Way, Houston, Georgia. I'm a resident. What about the 6-ton bridge down there on Covered Bridge Road? Are they gonna do something with that to adapt to commercial traffic? Just have a question. That's, we're already, every now and then you see a tractor trailer bus through it, and they got now. But, that road can't handle traffic. We got dangerous curves, everything else, people coming out of Wildflower. I don't see using that road as a commercial option, to be honest with you. So that makes the whole point of the driveway kind of mute, because it still need to be using 53, correct?
All right, next person, come on up.
Eleanor Green, 122 Pheasant Run, Hoschton. I want to talk about the commercial driveway. The shopping complex was always part of the Crestline Twin Lakes development proposed by Coulter Corporation.
Ma'am, you speak it, come forward, speak into the microphone,
Okay.
pull it to you one. So you hear you.
At the time, when that development was initially proposed, citizens were assured that on developing this massive complex, there would be only one road running off Peachtree Road to serve as entrance to and egress from the Crestline portion of the Coulter project. There is also, at some point, going to be a very small emergency vehicle only road up near the river, at the, I guess at the west end of the property. The only way for large service delivery trucks to enter Peachtree Road to access the proposed commercial driveway, the kind of trucks that bring merchandise to Publix every day of the week, is from Route 53. It's illegal for those types of trucks and vehicles to travel from 211 because the bridge over the Mulberry River supports only 6 tons. This law was repeatedly violated as Crestline was developed, and the usage possibly caused structural damage to the bridge. Violating the law and using the bridge for heavy-duty commercial vehicles has the potential for causing it to collapse, possibly. This is public endangerment and cause for alarm. Please, don't allow this to happen. Every truck entering Peachtree Road from Route 53 would be required to make a left turn into the proposed commercial driveway. This would create a more significant bottleneck at the intersection of 53 and Peachtree Road than the backup we currently experience. Reciprocal problems would be created by trucks exiting the commercial driveway on the way back to 53. The proposed monument sign does not belong on Peachtree Road. This is a residential road, not a commercial corridor. Occupants of the private homes on Peachtree and those living in the subdivisions from Crestwind to the river would prefer to maintain the current atmosphere. Furthermore, this sign will be adjacent to the old hospital, perhaps Hoschton's most historic structure. Council members, all local citizens know where the new shopping center is located. They do not need to read a huge sign to direct them there. Please do not approve.
All right, we have one more speaker, I believe.
Christina Brown, 205 Trail Run in the city limits. They really made most of the points, and I'm gonna try to avoid being redundant as you requested. My big thing is gonna be that same bell I'm ringing, 211, not getting widened, 53, not getting widened. You're gonna add a Publix entrance onto a residential road, which has no traffic control at the intersection that apparently all the trucks are gonna have to pass through, and many of the patrons of the establishment. It just, again, it seems like we're doing things way before the infrastructure is there. Peachtree Road cannot handle this.
All right, do y'all have any questions for anyone? Or actually, if you want any, Rebuttal time, sir? Did you want to offer any other, you had about
Yeah, sure, thank you.
8 minutes left.
This is not the only entrance into the public shopping center. There'll be an entrance off of Twin Lakes Boulevard, and currently is also planned a right-in, right-out entrance off of Highway 53, between the old home place and Publix. So this is an ancillary exit and entrance for the folks living off of Old Peachtree Road. And the Publix delivery trucks, their proposed plan is to not to use this road, but it comes in off of 53 down Twin Lakes, around the Publix Center, and then back out Twin Lakes.
Thank you.
Say that one more time.
Yes,
Yeah, say that one more time.
Yes, sir. Which part?
The part at the end where you said
Yes.
they were
Publix,
trip traffic.
Publix delivery, their plan, as part of their lease, is basically to come in off of 53 onto Twin Lakes, and then there's an entrance off of Twin Lakes into the Publix, and they'll go behind and deliver and go back out the same way they came in.
Do y'all have any questions for anyone?
Yeah, I got a couple. Bruce, the first gentleman that spoke, was inquiring about between this new road and the Coulter property.
Yes.
The subdivision. Any kind of buffer, trees, anything? I've read all of this, but more, I mean, there's been a lot of stuff I've had to read this morning.
Correct.
Some kind
Whatever.
of vegetated buffer between?
Yeah, whatever's there will remain. We're not getting any closer on the Publix property, I mean, on the Coulter's property. Most of this road, if not maybe a foot or two of it, belongs on the 6-acre tract. So whatever trees are there, I believe are staying, because that's Coulter's property on the, let's call it the west side of this road.
How far would you guess it'll be from the pavement to the nearest property line of Coulter?
I don't know, it goes by the pickleball course to begin with.
Oh, that's right.
So all of this is just on the 6 acres, and it does not go on the Coulter tract. That's why we had to give them an easement.
Okay. That's all. Randy. Randy Dean.
Yeah.
Obviously,
We asked them about the stream buffer.
He's in the back.
The stream is not disturbed at all. You know, we have to have
Okay.
certain that, yes, sir, when we backed off the stream according to state regulation.
I want to come into Randy's statement. You asked about the bridge.
Come on, here, Randy.
You don't, just don't want to, so don't hold me to this, but somebody I've talked to here in the last couple of weeks, the last 30 days for sure, that bridge is evidently scheduled to be replaced. Cause I was like, I remember when they built that one and tore down the old one. And I'm like, well, God, it's not that old, but it's what, 25, 30 years old. And it's scheduled to be replaced. So I'm sure whatever it's replaced with will come up to current standards. And I think the lady made some comments about 211. And the last time I was on 211, DOT met with us in here. That roundabout cost $4 million, which is a pretty big deal. And what they spent down there towards Winder, shooting all that traffic to 316, I was told it was in excess of $100 million, you know, for traffic upgrades. So 211's been addressed to some extent. I don't think we can say that's pennies, it may not be enough, but I would say it most definitely a lot of our taxpayer money has been spent.
So just help me out, Sharon, you're saying tractor trailers will be rolling between 211 and
I don't know who governs that. I mean, cause 211's, you know, state highway. And obviously, there's a weight limit on it today, and no doubt, I've seen the comments about tractor trailers on there. And I would say for sure today, that's gotta be breaking the law, whether Jackson County enforces that, or if it's, DOT enforcement, cause it's, you know, that's out of my realm.
It's hard for a regular passenger car to stop when somebody's pulling out of Deer Creek Farms and making a left.
Yeah.
And they're coming around that corner at you. A tractor trailer's gonna be a problem.
Yeah, all I know is I think that bridge is on the list to be upgraded, because, you know, they've been doing several of them in Jackson County.
Right.
You know, I don't know, I'm guessing we probably share that one with Barrow County. You know, that the two counties get together and split the cost. just food for thought.
Randy, we met with Janice Mangum and, Judge Smith, both sheriffs, Barrow County and Jackson County. They're all behind putting officers there. We got Brad, of course, our chief of police here. But ultimately, it's DOT that's gotta control these trucks and their weights. If they can catch them, boy, they'll get them. And they pull their CDL license. That's all they told us that they are able to do.
Do y'all have any other questions for anyone?
Can I make one comment real quick?
Yeah,
That's okay.
I'm
Get
sorry.
second.
Yeah.
So they're all right.
All right, any questions for anyone? All right, then I'm gonna close down that public hearing, and we will move to items 3 and 4. The public hearing agenda, we're gonna do these, together, as I stated. A public hearing has been called on item number 3Z-21-13, annexation and rezoning, Purple Farms Development LLC by Shane Lanham, Happy Pickens and Tucker LLP applicant, estate of Joseph Franklin Purple Jr. and Stephen Purple property owners, seek to rezone the incorporated portion of map parcel 120/003 from agricultural district to PUD, planned unit development district, and as a part of the same application, has filed to annex and zone to PUD, planned unit development, that unincorporated portion of map parcel 120/003, part of map parcel 120/001, and part of map parcel 120/001D, said PUD zoning district proposed to constitute 180.82 acres, fronting on the south side of Josh Purple Road. Existing zoning in unincorporated Jackson County is A2 Agricultural Rural Farm District. The proposed use is 175 townhomes and 363 detached single-family homes. Development of regional impact number 3512. Public hearing has also been called on item number 4, Z-21-14, annexation and rezoning, Purple Farms Development LLC by Shane Lanham, a Happy Pickens and Tucker LLP applicant, estate of Joshua Franklin Purple Jr. and Stephen Purple property owners, has filed a complete application to annex and zone to M1 Light Industrial District 219.294 acres, part of map parcel 120/001, part of map parcel 120/001D, map parcel 120/001A, and map parcel 120/001B, fronting on the west side of Josh Purple Road and the Mulberry River. Existing zoning in unincorporated Jackson County is A2 Agricultural Rural Farm District. Proposed use is 1,363,760 square feet of light industrial building space. I hereby open the public hearing as to each of those items. Jennifer, could you confirm that public notice has been given? All right, Joe?
Mayor and council, before you today, we combined, combine these to do one public hearing, Z-2113 and Z-2114. That's 400 plus acres on Joshua Road, the townhomes, industrial space, and single-family residential. That's all I got.
All right. For the applicant, is it just you, or
We have a total of 3 speakers.
y'all have 20 minutes total? You can reserve any of that time you wish for rebuttal. I'm just gonna turn on the timer and y'all go until 20 minutes is up, or stop when you wanna stop. If you use your full 20 minutes, you won't have any rebuttal.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor, members of council. Good evening. My name is Shane Lanham with Mahaffey Pickens Tucker LLP. Address is 1550 North Brown Road, Suite 125 in Lawrenceville. Here before you tonight on behalf of the applicant requesting annexation and rezoning of the